Hi, this is Margaret. Welcome to the New Choir tutorial. The purpose of this tutorial is to help those of you who are new to reading music to understand the musical scores that we use in our rehearsals. Each page has an accompanying audio file. Just click on the speaker symbol to hear it. Hit the space bar, click your mouse or page down to move forward, or just click on the blue arrow that appears on each page. The staff is the first building block of our music system. It's a set of 5 lines upon which the notes and other musical directions are placed. It's kind of like the bare tarmac of the road before any signs are posted or lines drawn on it. Here we have a couple of the first things you'll see on a staff. These are what are called the clefs. This picture shows a picture of a treble clef. That's the one that looks like a swirly 8, and a bass clef. The staff with which the altos and the sopranos read is a treble clef. The bass clef is naturally the ones that the basses read, and sometimes the tenors as well. The clefs indicate, to some extent, the pitch of the note. A note placed on a line or space in a treble clef will have a certain pitch. Similarly with the bass clef, lines on a treble clef have a higher pitch than those on a bass clef. We could notate our notes on a bass clef even if they're high notes, but it would involve putting a lot of lines above the bass staff to indicate those notes. So it's just makes for a nicer layout and an easier to read layout if we use the 2 different staffs that indicate the different pitches of the notes. If you were to put a note, say, on the middle line of the treble staff, it would be quite a different note than the note you put on the middle line of the bass staff. The note on the middle line of the treble staff would be a B above middle C, whereas the note with the same placement on the bass staff would be a D that's below middle C, 2 quite different sounding notes. This slide shows a tenor clef. Notice how it has a small 8 below it. This indicates that the notes on the staff with this clef are to be sung or played 1 octave lower. An octave is 8 whole tones above or below the printed note. The tenor part in our scores is placed on a staff with a clef such as this, and that's why the tenors sing the notes an octave below what is written on the score. Sometimes we'll put the sopranos and altos on one staff and the tenors and basses together on a bass staff. In that case, the tenors sing the notes as written. Our score for What I Like About You is written in this way. We did it this way because, for the most part, we're singing unison in this song, so it made it a relatively easy way to read the score. It's actually the more standard way to write up a choral score. But because our choir has a lot of members who do not read music easily, we've separated out each part for most of the songs. When your part is on the same staff as another, you need to understand what notes to sing. Unless it's otherwise indicated, the sopranos and tenors would read the top note on the staff, and the altos and basses the bottom note. Once we've created the staffs that we need for each voice with the correct clefs, we put them together for all the instruments and voices into what is called a system. This is a picture of one system that has soprano, alto, tenor, bass, and a piano. In our scores, if there are many bars where a particular voice or voices don't sing, for example, we just have a solo for a while, we'll hide the other staffs that have no notes on them, and the systems will appear smaller. So sometimes Scott might say, for example, go to the second system on page 3. So that would tell you to go to page 3 and look at the second sort of group of staffs that we have on that page. Sometimes we have markings on a system, and when we do, they apply to all the voices in that system. So for example, we might put some words above the soprano line that say, for example, faster, in which case that would apply to everyone. Those are systems markings. Sometimes we have staff markings that just apply to the voice in that particular staff, such as be quieter, where you just want the altos to sing more quietly, for example. So there are systems markings and staff markings that you should look out for on our scores. A staff is divided into bars, or measures of music. A bar is the space between the vertical lines. Each bar in the score has a number. We indicate the bar numbers at the beginning of each system. See the number 1 on this slide? It indicates the first bar of the score. If Scott tells you to go to a particular bar number in the music, which he will often do, then you should find the nearest number at the beginning of the system and count either forwards or backwards to find the correct bar.